رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are starting a new series which is very important on the personality development of a child. It's important both for parents and teachers. Maria and I are traveling and we are staying together in Singapore right now. We thought let's do it together. It would be fun. So, Maria, are you ready for that?
Yes, I am. So, in this lecture, we'll talk about personality development in terms of psychology and in terms of religious values.
So let's first educate ourselves from what psychologists have told us. Erickson has given us a very famous framework for that. He has divided human life into stages. The first stage, he says, is from birth to 1.5 years, and he names it trust versus mistrust. He says that at this stage, child is unable to understand rules. But if we adult have a correct behavior and deal the child with patience and love, this is a stage which creates hope in the child.
But if you fail to do that, it will develop fear in the child.
Yeah, that's very important. The next two stages, starting from 1.5 year to 5 years, are subdivided into up to 3 years and 3 to 5 years. The first one is autonomy versus shame, and the second is he named it initiative versus guilt. At these stages, if we allow the child to make mistakes, but obviously supervising them and watching them, we introduce simple rules to them, that will develop in them the sense of will and the sense of purpose.
But if we become harsh or overprotective, that will kill creativity and will develop lack of self-esteem in the child. The next stage starting from age 5, which is industry versus inferiority. This is a stage where child develops competency.
Here, the role of school is very important because now the child is school going. School environment and peer pressure. These are the two important factors which now will affect the child. And if we encourage the child and we don't label the child, in generally in school, few children are heroes and others are labeled as backbenchers. Then, if we are positive about it, they will develop confidence. But otherwise, they can't reach their potential. A mistrusting child will doubt his own future, her own future, and will feel inferior. So that was Erickson's framework, which is obviously very useful. Let's take another perspective from research of psychology. Why 95% of our teachers are failing? Why only 1 out of 20 teachers are proving to be successful teachers?
Brain is a very complex organ, but a simple way to look at it is the inner brain, which is stem, the middle brain, which is the limbic system, and the outer brain, which is neocortex brain. Stem is responsible for survival, limbic system is for emotions, and neocortex is for thinking.
And that is the sequence actually how brain develops from fetus to brain of a baby. The survival brain is also called reptilian brain, and then emotional is called mammalian brain, and our evolution theory of the biology is also goes the same way. We help the child in actually transitioning from the survival and emotional brain to a thinking brain, which is an adult brain. Let's see how this transition takes place.
We have to help the child to make this transition.
So let's call it from red zone to blue zone. Now, child actually sort of mimics us and learns from us. If we fast forward, or we react, or we become irritable, which is actually the feature of the child, which is not yet rational. It's not the feature of adult brain. It's a feature of red zone. But if adults behave like that and they tend to label and they start shouting and yelling, then we cannot smoothly transition the child into that brain. So that's why he is emotionally not well. But if we are consistent, supportive, loving, respect, listen, allow mistake, then we can transition the child into a well-groomed personality.
It is interesting to note that the word educate comes from the Latin root which means to lead out, and the word tarbiyah, an Arabic word which means to increase, growing up, and to make right.
And that is exactly what psychology is telling us, that we as an adult are helping the child to come out from that survival and reactionary mode to a mode which is thinking and emotional at the same time.
There are two factors important for this transition. The first one is respect.
Now, the respect has various levels, as psychologists say. The lowest level is, well, actually, we don't care. So it's almost no respect. The next level, the minimal level, is called conditional respect. Conditional respect is, if you respect me, I will respect you. If the child's behavior is a little bit mischievous, let's say, the adult's behavior also becomes harsh. So that's conditional. The next level, better level, is conditional upward. Conditional upward is, so it's not better in that respect, but it's a traditional level. Conditional upward means you have to respect me even if I don't respect you. That is how most of the Victorian and old time teachers used to do. And the level which is really required is unconditional respect when it comes to teaching the child. Unconditional respect is whatever the behavior we get from the child, we have to remain in our adult zone instead of getting dragged into the reactionary or emotional or child zone. That is unconditional respect.
The second important factor for the transition is listening. There are various levels in listening.
Yeah, and the minimal level, like as it was in respect, is casual listening. We are listening, but actually we are busy in our own work and hardly giving attention. Listening is about attention. The next level is attentive listening. In attentive listening, we are listening, but we are making a lot of judgments while we are listening, and we are filtering a lot of information according to our own bias and knowledge. The next upper better level is empathic listening, where we try to be in the shoes of the talker or the who is speaking, in the child in our case. We try to remove filters and give our 100% attention and try to feel how the child feels. This is called empathic listening. And the next level is actually going with the child and creating an aha feeling with the child. That is emergent listening. The above two levels are the one which is real communication, which is required for interacting with the child.
So these are the two important dimensions, respect and listening. Where do you think the most teachers fall?
Now, the research tells us that all great teachers actually fall here. They give unconditional respect, or in other words, you can say unconditional love to the child. They never become reactionary, they never yell, shout, right? And they are empathic listening. They listen with total 100% attention, and they feel how the child feels. With this sort of teachers, the personality of the child is emotionally mature and we get a well-rounded child. But the unfortunate statistics is only 1 out of 20 teachers is at that level.
If teacher is listening attentively but he demands conditional respect, then what will happen?
Now, this is an interesting stage, and it was a very long, outstanding question in my mind as well. That why most of our people, we ourselves, parents, teachers, officers particularly, they're cognitively very good, but emotionally and in terms of connection and thinking about the teams and the people around, they're so poor about their customers, even bureaucracies, for example, most of us. That is because some teacher came in their lives which actually listened to them, but they were not giving them respect. They were only demanding respect, like Victorian teachers. The result of this behavior of the adult or the teacher is that the cognitively child is very good, but emotionally and in terms of sympathy and empathy with the people, the child is poor. So that's most of us are.
Sadly, most of our teachers fall in this category, and the result is a mess all around us.
Yes. And Maria, this is not only about the teachers, this is about the parents as well. And there's one more factor that research tells us, that if we dislike somebody, or he or she is falling below our expectations, then we don't listen. We label children so quick and fast. Only one or two in the class are good, and others only come actually to school to be humiliated. So for a child, ignoring is a form of humiliation, but sadly, many of adults are not realizing it. It's a matter of serious training. These short talks are only for sensitizing.
Let's finish this session. In the next session, we'll talk about what minimum adults need to know so that we can play a meaningful role for child's personality development.
That's great. Thank you very much.